What is up, guys? Your boy Elafi is back with another video. The NBA offseason is pretty much over at this point, and I just thought to myself, why not I make a tier ranking regarding the majority of players aged 25 and younger. The NBA season is about a month away from now, and some of these young players are due to having a breakout season. Let us begin. Okay, so first things first, we have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier. You guys should get the point already, but first player, Jamal Murray, I'm gonna have to put A tier. He's a perennial all-star. He's one of these years he's due to make an all-star appearance. What he did in the bubble, even though we really don't count the bubble because the bubble effect has occurred on so many different players other than Jamal Murray. But moving on, Jaylen Brown, I'll also put him in an A tier. He's a great duo alongside Jayson Tatum. But Jayson Tatum, he's an S tier, man. Jayson Tatum's gonna be a problem in the future. He's already a problem right now, but just imagine when Jayson Tatum caps to his prime. Like, just imagine how great of a player Jayson Tatum is going to be when he gets to that point. And Donovan Mitchell, too, is also an S tier. He's been leading the Jazz as the first option for some time now, since 2018, ever since he took out my Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round as a rookie. I'm still mad at you for that, Donovan Mitchell, but you're still a great player. I got to pay respect for all this due. Marvin Bagley. Now, you already know the situation with Marvin Bagley on the Sacramento Kings, and hasn't been so hot, but we really didn't get to see much of Marvin Bagley play as of right now. So I feel like he's not that bad of a player. It's just I need to see more. To me, he's a C tier. Now, Mikhail Bridges, he really put it on within this entire postseason run. I believe this was his first postseason of his entire career, but he proved that he's a great role player to have on the Phoenix Suns, and I bet you he'll fit on any other contending team in general. So just for that, he's not an all-star player, but he's an above average role player, and that's well deserving for being placed at the B tier in my opinion. Now, next is Dante Divanchendra. We really didn't see him play within this postseason due to injury purposes, of course, but he also won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks this season. He's a great role player for the Milwaukee Bucks, but he's obviously not an all-star player. So I feel like he's good enough to be in the C tier. So as Kevin Huerter, he played good within Game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers. He was mainly the reason why they won Game 7. He really showed up to play. Lonnie Walker, the fourth. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, he's on the San Antonio Spurs. Obviously, he's a great young player. He's shown many flashes of him being a very great shooter. He's still young, so he still has time to develop. Right now, he's going to be placed on the C tier because he's not the worst player, but obviously, he's not the best player. He's only a role player, of course. Now, next we got Matista. But let me tell you something. I really like this kid's game, and I really enjoy watching this guy play because he really puts it on the defensive end of the ball game, making offensive players very hard to, conduct their offense like the way they usually do. And he's going to also be placed on the C tier because he's obviously just a role player. He's not going to contribute to anything like an all-star unless he breaks out one of these years, but he still has to break out. He still has to prove that he's an all-star player, of course. And who is this guy? I have no idea what this is. Either I'm a casual or I just straight up don't know who this guy is. Let me look it up. So apparently his name is Deni Avdija. He averaged 6.3 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 1.2 assists per game, and he is 20 years old. So he literally just got drafted. I don't know if I'm a casual or not. I don't know if he plays on the Washington Wizards. I really didn't watch. No, I did watch a plethora of Wizards games, but I really didn't pay attention to this guy play during his time. He played 54 games. I don't know how I just missed him, but I mean, judging only based off his stats, I'm gonna put him in the D tier. He's probably a better player than a D tier, but I just really haven't watched him play on the Wizards yet. Like, I don't know what it is. I might be a casual. Emmanuel Quickly, C tier. Really great player for the Knicks. Now, next we got Peyton Pritcher. He scored 91 points in a Pro-Am league or something like that, but on the regular NBA league, you already know he's just a great role player on the Celtics. Nothing too crazy. Bam Adebayo, he did underperform, you could say, in this year's postseason, or you could just easily say that about the entire Miami Heat team. They all underperformed. They got swept by the Milwaukee Bucks, the same exact team they ended up outplaying last year in the bubble. But you can't deny Bam Adebayo is an all-star caliber player. He's still very young, so he has time to develop his intangibles in his overall game. team, but he's gonna be placed in the all A tier in my opinion. He's a great player. He's a great player. You can't deny that. Next, we got Mitchell Robinson. I know he didn't play that many games this season. I think he played about 30-something games this season for the New York Knicks, so we really didn't get a chance to see what he could become as a player this season alone. But I know he's a player that could get rebounds, an abundance amount of rebounds, and he could bring that extra tenacity for a team in general. He plays for the New York Knicks, and he's been a solid role player for that team, so he's gonna be a C tier player. He deserves it. Now next, we got Killian Hayes. Now, same outcome as Mitchell Robinson. He barely played any games this season due to injury purposes, but next season, we're really going to see what he's made out of when he plays alongside Cade Cunningham on the Detroit Pistons. But judging based off what I've seen so far, I'm going to place him on the D tier. I know he's showed many promises to me. I feel like he's going to be a pretty great player, solid player in the future, potentially break out into an all-star player. You never know, but we just haven't seen enough. He only played like 20-something games this season. We need to see more out of him, man. Now next, we got Trae Young. Now, it would be completely blasphemous if we don't put this man at the S tier, man. Well, S tier, I gotta put it in order, but still, this season alone, the postseason that he's had, S tier, no explanation. He's an S tier. And now what you look at that, we got Trae Young's teammate John Collins. He's gonna be a B tier to me. He's an above average role player, of course, but he's not at the all-star level yet. Maybe give him some time. LaMelo Ball, B tier as well. He missed a lot of games due to injury this season, but he won Rookie of the Year. But we already know that he's most likely gonna be an all-star player. Maybe next season is gonna be in the A category, or shooting in the dark, the S tier category. But right now he's a B tier. Miles Bridges, C tier, high flyer indeed, great energy on the court for the Charlotte Hornets team, great player. Now next we got Laurie Marketing. He just got traded to the he got traded to the Cavs, right? Or was it the Blazers? I think it was one of those. But judging based off his rookie season, he had a phenomenal rookie season, but it just seems like ever since his rookie season, he's sort of like declined. But just based off of that, he's not the worst player. I'm not gonna put him at the D tier, but he's definitely a C tier type of player. Now, Patrick Williams, as you guys may know, Patrick Williams is glimmering with unlimited potential. We've already seen what he could do within the Summer League, but we're not going to pay attention too much off the Summer League because it's obviously not the real league, of course. But I honestly believe one of these years, he's going to be breaking out into an above average player or potentially an all-star player. He has that much potential to make me believe in him that much. And as you guys may know, the Chicago Bulls just acquired DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, and Alex Caruso and more to pair alongside Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, and company on the Chicago Bulls. And I honestly believe that Patrick Williams, he could potentially be like a secret X factor for this team in the long stretch of things, as you know, the future sets upon us. So for right now, I'm gonna put him at the C tier, but don't be surprised if he jumps up as on the B tier probably next season. Now next we got Colin Sexton. For me, he's a B tier player. He averaged about 20-something points per game, 25, 24-ish around that range, but the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're not as good of a team as of right now, so he's probably going to be looked at as a player that puts up empty stats. But we said the same thing about Devin Booker, and look what he did within this postseason alone. Put it on, played his game the entire postseason. So Colin Sexton, he's going to be a B tier player for me. One of these years, he's going to, you know, get to his prime, probably going to jump up as the A tier or S tier type of player potentially. And then we got Colin Sexton's teammate Darius Garland. Now, I actually like the way Darius Garland plays. He's a very great facilitator for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he was able to be very decent scoring the ball offensively from time to time this season. And if you guys don't know, when Colin Sexton was dealing with his injury and sitting out games, Darius Garland was able to take that next step to be the leading point guard player, scoring, putting up very efficient stats, and being able to lead the team consistently to like wins here and there. But he's still a C tier type of player, not an all-star player yet, but maybe in a few years he could break out to be that all-star as he's still young. Every single one of these players that's below B tier, even in the B tier, could break out to be a very great player because they're still young. They still got time. And then we got another teammate, Jarrett Allen. He's going to be C tier for me, a very great defender down low, especially, best believe that. And then Isaac Akuro got drafted with a top 10 overall pick last season by the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think it was the 6th overall pick, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's obviously going to be a C tier type of player as well. And Michael Porter Jr. Michael Porter Jr. was a steal in the 2019 draft. Yeah, the 2019 draft. He fell to like the 14th overall pick to the Denver Nuggets because he was obviously injured and teams didn't want to take a chance on that injury circumstance at the time. But the Denver Nuggets has a hidden gem in Michael Porter Jr. I really like the way this kid plays, but he's gonna be a B tier type of player for me. But best believe if he was on any other team, you know, because he's playing alongside Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, but if he was on any other team, I feel like his stats will increase dramatically. Now next, we got Josh Jackson. Is that Josh Jackson? Please correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, but I know Josh Jackson averaged around like 13 something points per game, but I'm gonna be honest, I barely watched Josh Jackson play this season. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, so I can't judge based off his impact on the court that he had this season for the Detroit Pistons because I barely watched him play, so I'm not gonna have that much of an opinion. So only judging based off of stats for this instance alone, I'm gonna put him as the C tier because I barely watched him play. Now next we got Dennis Smith Jr. and I have a question for you guys. What happened to this guy? I know he got traded to the Knicks, but during his time with the Dallas Mavericks, he was a severe high flyer. It was so fun to watch, and now I barely see him get playing time. What happened? But judging based off his recent activity in NBA basketball, I have to put him in the D tier. Hold on, I'm actually curious what he's doing right now. Let me check out his stats. So let me get this straight. In 2020, he was playing for the New York Knicks. He played 34 games and then got traded to the Pistons this season, and then got traded back to the New York Knicks this season and only played 3 games for them. And he played 20 games for the Pistons previously before he got traded, so he barely played this season. And during his 3 games playing with the New York Knicks, he only put up 3.0 points per game, and he put up a good 7.3 points per game on the Detroit Pistons. Barely any playing time, but due to that, I have to put him in the D tier, man. What I saw in the Mavericks, I'm not seeing from him anymore due to him not being able to get a clear opportunity. Eric Pascal, C tier, I like his game. James Wiseman dealt with a lot of injury. He was the 2nd overall pick for the Golden State Warriors last season, but like I said, he's dealt with a lot of injury this year, missed a lot of time due to that circumstance, so I have to put him in the C tier. He's not the worst player, but not the best player, of course, and he's never available, as you can see. Domantas Sabonis played 1 season for my Oklahoma City Thunder team until we traded him away to acquire Paul George within the 2017 offseason. Domantas Sabonis is a beast in the paint. Watched an abundance of Pacers games this season. Averaged about 27 points per game alongside with double-digit rebounds, but his impact on the court is immaculate. He's not the best player, but he's definitely an all-star caliber player sitting at the A tier. And Miles Turner, just like his teammate Domantas Sabonis, he is also a beast within the paint area, just more on the defensive end of the ball game in comparison to the offensive side of the ball game. Also a beast. You know this man averaged 3-something blocks per game? That's ridiculous. Obviously, just like a above average role player, I'll put him in the B tier. He was running for Defensive Player of the Year when the season began. I believe he was like a top 3 candidate until he got injured, and obviously he fell out of that candidacy. So, but he's obviously a great defensive player in general, can't deny that. So let me inform you guys about something real fast. We still have an abundance of players left to rank, and we're about 45 to 50 minutes into this video so far. Let me speed up this process real fast. Zubac, been a very reliable center for the Los Angeles Clippers ever since he's got there, but gotta put him in the C tier. Now the same thing with Taylor Horton-Tucker. He showed a few flashes of him being a solid player in the future this season alone, but had to put him in the C tier because he's not at that point yet. John Moran, He's not an S tier player just yet, but he's definitely an A tier. We already know that Ja Morant's gonna be a future all-star in this league, possibly superstar if he breaks out to that level eventually. Brandon Clark, I love this kid's game, but C tier for me. Jaren Jackson Jr. missed a lot of time due to injury this season, but came back and was pretty solid, pretty respectable for the Memphis Grizzlies squad coming off of that injury that he was dealing with. But C tier for me just for this season. If this was last season, I would have most likely put him in a B tier, but only judging based off of this season, he's only a C tier. Now Tyler Hero, the hype has died down for this man ever since last year's bubble. If this was last year, I probably would have put this man at the B tier as well, but judging based off of what he did this season, he's definitely regressed to a C tier in comparison to a B tier. Now Anthony Edwards, a runner-up for Rookie of the Year, have to put him in a B tier alongside LaMelo Ball, which was the Rookie of the Year this season. Great player indeed. Gonna be a great player in the future. Now next we have Jarrett Culver, I believe that is. Now I only watched Timberwolves games because of Anthony Edwards. I paid barely any attention to Jarrett Culver, but correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this season he didn't play that good this year. I know he got drafted last season and he played better than this season, but judging based off of his performance this season, I have to put him in a D tier. Zion Williamson, come on, he's obviously an S tier. He averaged about a 60 field goal percentage this season. He's definitely going to be a great player in the future. Brandon Ingram, a former all-star for last season, but he's an A tier player, slightly worse than Zion, but still a great player indeed. Lonzo Ball, he's definitely improved this season, but not on that A tier level yet, but I'll definitely put him on the B tier. He's definitely a solid player to have on the team. Now we got Mikhail Alexander Walker, the brother or cousin or something like that to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he's obviously not on the same level as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, but he's definitely a great player for the New Orleans Pelicans as to what I've seen. Now behind the scenes, I actually had to look this guy up too. I've never heard of this guy. His name is Kyra Lewis Jr. He averaged around 6 point something points per game if I remember, but judging based off of stats, because I barely watched this guy play, I didn't even know this guy existed until now. I don't know if that's just me being a casual again, but I have to put him at the D tier, judging only based off of stats. Now we got RJ Barrett. In comparison to this season, with his rookie season, he definitely improved, but he's slightly underperforming up in the playoffs. But despite his improvements and his impact to the game this season for the New York Knicks, had to put him in the B tier. Kevin Knox was solid for only like 1 or 2 seasons, and then now he doesn't get any player time, so just for that I have to put him in the D tier. Next we got SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm an OKC Thunder fan if you didn't know, but I'm not going to be biased in any way possible, but to me Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's an A tier. To me, he could probably put him in the B tier, but to me he's an A tier. All bias aside, I'm not being biased at all. And same thing with Lou Dort, he's only a C tier type of player. Next we got Cole Anthony for the Orlando Magic. Had a decent rookie season last season, put him in the C tier. Same thing with Markelle Fultz, repaving his career. Mo Bamba, shout out to Sheck West, C tier player as well. Now we got Ben Simmons. I know you guys are gonna say, oh, he's a C tier, D tier, he needs to go to China. Let's be honest, he's a B tier player. I know his offense isn't there, but everything else that he could contribute to on the court defensively, playmaking wise, able to facilitate, being a high flyer in the paint, he's a B tier. He's definitely not an A tier or S tier, but he's an above average player. You can't lie. Tyrese Maxey, C tier. Devin Booker, S tier. What he did in his postseason was phenomenal. Deandre Ayton, have to put him, I would say, I'll put him in the B. Would you guys put him in the A or B? I'll put him in the B tier. B tier for now. Cam Johnson played decent for the Suns, but he's also a C tier. Gary Trent Jr., C tier. Next we got Anthony Simons. This year he was pretty decent efficiency wise from the 3-point lane, but he's obviously just a role player, so not the worst, but a pretty decent role player. Same thing with Derrick Jones Jr. I'll put C tier. You could probably argue D tier, but I'll say C tier. De'Aaron Fox, definitely A tier, no questions asked. We got Tyrese Halliburton, had a great rookie season. He's definitely going to be a great player in the future, possibly going to be an all-star caliber player in the future when that time comes. There was actually a trade rumor going around saying that Ben Simmons could get traded for Tyrese Halliburton. Tyrese Halliburton is going to be going on the 76ers, of course, and Ben Simmons is going to be going to the Kings. But I actually feel like Tyrese Halliburton will fit well with the 76ers alongside Joel Embiid and the system they got going on over there in comparison to Ben Simmons. But Tyrese Halliburton, I put him at the B tier. I really like his game, man. Dejounte Murray had his best season of his entire short career this season, but I actually like Dejounte Murray's game, but I feel like he's just a C tier. Same thing. Keldon Johnson's gonna be good too, but I feel like he's only a C tier for now. Could jump up to the B tier, A tier, just like Dejounte Murray in a couple seasons, no later than sooner. But this season, definitely both of them C tier. OG Anunoby had a decent season this year with the Toronto Raptors, put up an abundance of points along with great efficiency numbers, but he's only a C tier for me. Same thing with Roy Hachimura. Now D'Angelo Russell, he was basically injured for this entire season, but we already know what he can do if he's fully healthy. So just for that, he's a B tier. We already seen what he could do, what he's fully capable of when, like I said, when he's fully healthy. Luka Doncic, if we say he's not an S tier, you don't watch basketball. The way he's able to impact the game, move at his own pace, or basically be able to control the game at his own pace as consistently as he does, and the stuff that he's doing at that young of an age on the Dallas Mavericks basically by himself, S tier player indeed. Definitely going to be one of the future faces of the league, and there's no question about it. And that is my entire list, ladies and gentlemen. I had an abundance of players of B tier, but really an abundance of players at the C tier. There's a bunch of players that was on this list that were just simply role players, so most of them had to be placed at the C tier. I could have made another tier regarding the F tier and placed more players on the D tier, but we didn't do that, so basically they just all got crammed in the C tier. The S tier I feel like is very respectable, so is the A tier, and I feel like I made a good list. What do you guys think in the comment section down below? Make sure you guys rate my list in the comment section down below, and I just want to see your guys' opinions as to where you think players may go or not go, where you think players should go in this list in comparison to where I placed them on my list. But other than that, that will end today's video. Make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm out. Peace.